Welcome back to Carman Conversations, and this one I've been looking forward to for a long period of time, and I'm sure you are just as much. But this is a very important one with my eldest son, Jaylen Camilleri. I've been looking forward to this for a little bit for multiple reasons. But Jaylen, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Carman Conversations. As per normal, what I usually do to start the episode is the Wood with my sales team. Your dinner and beverage from last night, mate.
Well, sausages and rice with that as well. Jess didn't cook it for me, so I had to cook it myself. But yeah.
How many snags you put away, mate?
4.
4? Yeah, good boy.
Could have done more.
You're a growing man.
Yeah, that's it.
So the story so far with you, mate, obviously I'm very, very protective of my family and very proud of my kids, and you being my eldest boy, I couldn't be more proud of where you are today, and it's been a great journey so far. So probably what I'd like to see is if you can just take us along the little story of where you, like from being a kid, your childhood memories, what your drivers were through being a youngster and your footy days, and then maybe up until the high school era.
Okay. So I remember growing up when I was young, footy, being a professional rugby league player was the dream.
Yeah. For the Dragons, of course.
For the Dragons,
yeah, yep.
No other team. Remembering on like Sundays where we'd watch the footy and I'd wait for the old man. I'd be like, let's go kick the footy outside all the time. That's what I'd wait for, and yeah.
It was so obviously the childhood days. I'd stopped playing footy, I think, just as you started, or there might have been just a little bit of a changeover. So I remember back in the early days coaching you in the under sevens, under sixes maybe, and then the under sevens. So the footy career, how was that for you back then?
Oh, back then it was pretty fun, but as I got older, puberty didn't agree with me, so late bloomer, so had to probably give up that dream.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really want to, but just how it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk us through the school years, mate. You were never one really for the textbook.
Not at all.
How'd you find those schooling years?
Pretty average. Didn't want to be there at all. Hated homework. Like, I didn't understand you have to go to school, then you have to go back home to do homework, assignments. Like, what's the point of that? Even nowadays, I still hate doing it, but it does make sense in the long run. But I just saw it as more as a casual thing, like more of a social thing, just chilling with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to high school. Let's talk year 11 and 12. What were your thoughts then? Like, you obviously you get your student council and so on. The council saying, look, what are you going to do when you get older? And where were you in that period of what you wanted to do when you left school?
No idea. I didn't know until 2 years after school, to be honest. Was kind of just floating around, had no idea what I wanted. I remember you probably asked me a few questions what I wanted to do. Just had no idea, just kind of wanted to do my own thing.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's...
So you left school. Talk us through the journey. What were the jobs? What did you do?
Hospitality at Eatonville Hotel. Working as a waiter to start with.
Yep.
And then moved into more of the bar work stuff, in the nightclub and stuff like that. Did that for 5 years and hated pretty much every year of it. Just didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was making money. It was just out of school, even like 3 years after school, still didn't know what to do.
So I'll just ask you a few questions on that. And one thing that obviously, me being your dad, I'm big on is mindset and drive and motivation. Did ever at that point there during that time, did you have that burning inkling that you thought, hang on, I'm not doing enough, I want to do more, I need to break out of this, and how did you break out of that?
You always had those thoughts kind of cross my mind, but it's kind of that dark cloud that you kind of avoid touching base on. You just kind of avoid it, and I avoided it for a long time, and just kind of wanted to just go with the flow for as long as I could. Bit of a party animal back then, just going out, having fun, looking forward to the weekend. That's all that really mattered for me back then. But yeah, it came a time where I was just like, yeah, I really need to change up, and then yeah, just went from there and got moving forward, and now I'm a personal trainer. Yeah.
So personal training, interesting that you ended up here. What was it that attracted you to change career and to move down that road?
Being small, growing up, always being small. Would sometimes, like back playing footy back in the day, you see me, copping a few head knocks here and there.
Yeah.
Always been the smallest man in the field, smallest boy in the field, I should say. But yeah, there was some big boys, and just running out there was always the smallest one. Growing up in school, always small, even after school, and I was just sick of it. And I was like, you know what, I'm sick of being the small guy, And then I think it was like 20 years old. I was still about 67 kilos, and I was like, nah. And this is kind of where I made a change, and then this is where discipline came in and stuff like that.
Yep.
Started going to the gym, found a passion for it, and that led to the personal training business.
So talk us through the transformation. So you went from late 60s to what are you now, mid 90s?
Yeah, mid 90s. So
that's obviously a huge leap, and you're very, very disciplined through it. What changed? Obviously, there would have been a big mindset change for one. There would have been some massive disciplines put in place. Talk us through it, because a lot of people say they want to go and do it. I want to make a change. New year, new me, and all the other rubbish that goes along with it. And the reason I say it's rubbish is because it's up here. It's one thing saying, it's another thing doing it. And I believe you've got to be a doer, and you've obviously done it. Talk us through it, and which could maybe help other people realise that it is achievable.
Yeah, well, I think it's the only thing I've really done properly, and really just got into it, and was just no holding back. I just really enjoyed it, and it was more of a confidence thing for me. Went from a real anxious, nervous sort of guy, and then seeing kind of how my body changed, my mind changed, and I became more aware of that, and I felt a lot more confident in any day activity, and that's what was the big game changer for me, for sure. Yeah.
It must feel, I guess, must be a big driver for you now, of waking up knowing you've got a want and a why and your drive to it. Do you feel like a sense of just that you have achieved what you wanted to, and now you're just ready to take anything on?
Yeah. I always still have the mindset of never satisfied. Yeah. Just want to keep growing mentally and physically. But yeah.
So my next question for you is, obviously we're a family business, Grand Prix Master at Aspley, and your younger brother Kai works here. At any period, like obviously you've got an invested interest here. You spend a bit of time coming and getting your free coffees every day. But apart from that, what is it? Was there ever a thought in your mind that I wouldn't mind going working in the dealership, or is it that you just realised it wasn't for you?
I remember you've asked me a few times if I'd be interested in it, but I don't know. It's always been something I've thought about, but then always kind of thought that I didn't want to kind of disappoint you.
Yep.
So I went out and tried to do something myself, and if I failed by myself, I'd be more like, I'd be happy to fail doing my own thing rather than fail, in front of you, something like that. So I've always been.
It's a good answer, mate.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. Obviously, you take me to that next question. There is, that you've got that. Obviously, you got that winning culture and discipline, or that fear of failure, and which is a great driver in my mind. I think if you go into anything comfortably and you're not nervous about it, you're probably not invested. But through this, your childhood and even into your like 17, 18, and through your career now, has there been some inspiration for you? A role model? Have you looked to people to help you, guide you through that? Because you've come a long way, and me as your dad, I've seen that. You went through that period where you still had an income, where you needed to keep paying your way, but you could tell that you weren't satisfied, and it was a job. And I've always been a believer in that you should wake up every day looking forward to going to work, and proud to pull on the jersey. So talk us through that period.
Well, I've always always, ever since I was a kid, back playing footy. We've got a few photos, I'm sure, of him having a chat to me, giving me a little motivational speech before I go out in the field. That's kind of stuck with me over the years, and I've always looked up to you as a role model and someone I want to be like. And the big dog. Even though we talk a lot of smack back and forth, but I've always thought of you really highly, and you've always been to support me as well through everything. Even though I haven't been the most screwed on human being, but it's been good. But yeah, definitely look up to you in that sense for sure.
Thank you. It's so important to to obviously have a mentor or someone that can then help you and drive you. And I guess that's been the most important part for our business here, is always been on that drive, and having that support. And when you get your younger people come through into the dealership, we want to give them a really good stepping stone into a career and teach them the things around confidence and discipline and what to look up to. So I think that you've gone out and done it yourself. You should be really, really proud. So one thing for me, a question I've got, and I'd love to hear your side, is around mindset. So obviously it's a tough one. There's disciplines in place. I know you're not a morning person, and you struggle, but you've obviously got disciplines with your body. You've got disciplines in the mind, and now you're setting the example for others. Talk us through that mindset of yours, and what do you do to reset, and how do you keep the balance?
Okay, well, mindset wasn't always strong, obviously. It's pretty weak, to be honest. But I just started doing things that I didn't want to do, stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Yep.
Which does make you nervous, and you're like, oh, you don't know if it's gonna be a good or bad thing. You don't know how you're gonna go. But I think putting your mind and your body through something uncomfortable definitely helps you feel more comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But yeah, I think mindset definitely has changed over the past few years by doing those sort of things, like just stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something you don't want to do, talking to people you don't want to speak to, and just engaging with people you don't usually talk to and stuff like that. Just really trying to open up.
So what's your advice now? You obviously have a lot of clients that rely on you. They come in, they've got that fear of coming into a gym with the big meatheads, and I don't want to go in there. I'm worried about what other people look like, and you've obviously got to deal with that before they even lift a weight or do any exercise. So how do you give the advice to your clients, and how do you help them through their journey?
Well, those meatheads started somewhere, so they would have been just like myself, maybe, real anxious, nervous, and that's what probably drove them into the gym. So with my new clientele that comes in now, that's the same thing I tell them. If you really want to achieve a greater physique or just mental growth, you got to start somewhere, and that's you start literally from the bottom, and you got to work your way up, and there's just discipline from there, and waking up with the right mindset, doing things you don't want to do, like going to the gym in front of all these people. But practice makes perfect. The more times you do it, the more times you're comfortable with doing it, and the better you get.
Yep.
So that's what I tell them to do, and
it must feel good making a difference in their life, and being a mentor, I guess, because it's daunting, isn't it? And it's a big part. So one big part for me is I wouldn't be where I am today without having my routine of daily gym. Because it's mindset for me, and that's how I need to start my day, with a routine, and and it's been a long time I've been doing it, and the big driver thanks big dog. But the big driver for me is, I guess, and even with the staff, is that wanting people to feel comfortable, wanting them to feel that they're in a position where we actually truly care about their well-being and what car they're trying to purchase, and they're making the best purchase, and it be a relationship that's built. Different industry, I know, but do you find yourself in that same position now, that you have an invested interest with them? You're helping them, and obviously they're relying on you, and they're proud to tell you about their changes and their growth?
Yeah, no, it's a good feeling. Especially, you don't realise it until, say, a few months down the track, where they've seen pretty good results in themselves, and then you can tell they're happier. You can tell they're enjoying life a bit more, and sometimes you get these messages from clientele, and they send you messages of how thankful they are, and definitely it's a good feeling that I'm kind of making a difference with some people and trying to teach them something I've learned doing myself, and trying to give them the same thing I've done. But it's a good feeling, definitely.
Yeah, good on you, mate. It is. It's one thing for us here, and my biggest satisfaction I have is self-development with staff, of watching them grow and where they come from to where they end up. You can't put a value on that, and I think it's the best driver, so it's a great feeling, and keep that up, and people really are relying on you for that, so credit to you. So I guess the Jaylen Camilleri story now is where do we see you over the next 2 years? Well,
definitely want to be in the fitness industry. Still doing my PT business, Camilleri coaching. Just growing that, yearly, and hopefully just moving up, more online sort of stuff. Just seeing how we go, and yeah.
And what about the 5-year goal, mate? What can we expect in 5 years? Is there a goal in place? Is there a dream? Something you've got up your sleeve you haven't told me?
Oh, nah, not yet.
Not just yet?
Not yet. No.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. Now, Kai wanted me to bring this up, and I said I wouldn't, but he's claiming to be the smartest son. Is that correct?
Smartest son? Well, have you seen him? Like, you've got the photo of him. Does he look smart?
He does look a bit smarter. And what about favourites? He also reckons he's more of a favourite.
Nah, well, come on, eldest son. I think we have a connection like no others.
We all know LeBron's my favourite, mate.
Yeah.
LeBron's my
Pongo's mine. But nah.
And the last thing is, when I saw the notes around the podcast, people were referring to you as Bert Newton, the moon face. Any reason why? Just kidding, mate.
Mate, look at you pumping, mate. Seriously.
Thanks very much for being on Car Man Conversations. I'm really proud of you, Jay. You've as all my kids, I'm extremely proud, and I'm very, very protective, and I want to see you guys doing really well. It makes me really proud and pleased to hear that you've taken a path because you didn't want to let me down and you wanted to prove to yourself, and that takes a lot of strength in itself. We are extremely close, and we do spend a lot of time together, and I'm really enjoying seeing this development. So good luck on where you're at with Camilleri coaching. I see you making some great changes now and some great results with some people, and I've seen it work, and I've trained with you and see how good you're going. So congratulations on that, mate, and all the best with that. Yeah. And thanks very much for being on Car Man Conversations. Thank you, mate.
It's easy. Awesome.
Well, I really enjoyed that episode with my oldest son, Jaylen Camilleri. He's definitely on a really good journey, building up a really good database and helping out his clients and really building a good career for himself. And if you're interested in following the journey, we'll leave the links to his socials in the description below.